Hey guys, it's Brandon. I'm going to go into what I believe is next for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And as a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, this will be a very hopeful video. Um, Being any Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, you are full of hope every season, and then it comes crashing down for some way or another. The Buccaneers always screw it up. So, just a little background. I've been a Buccaneers fan for my entire life. I've seen their ups from when they had a dominant defense under John Gruden with Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber, and I've seen them slowly decline into this mediocre team that hasn't been in the playoffs since 2007, which has been about 12 years, coming up to 12 years. And I thought it'd be interesting to make a video on what I believe is next for the Buccaneers short term, and following the subject of what can determine their future. And the headlines that have been this year is, should the Tampa Bay Buccaneers re-sign Jameis Winston? We'll see. So going to the ups of Jameis Winston, we have invested about 4 years into this guy. He is, I think, about 25 years old. He's still very young in his career, and he showed flashes of greatness, coming back, leading us to victories. He's thrown 2 4,000-yard passing seasons. He's basically been what we need in a franchise quarterback. I personally really love Jameis Winston, or before this season, I really was certain that this was our quarterback. He does everything a leader, or you would want a leader to do. He shows up to the stadium hours before everyone else. He even, when he was suspended, and we'll go more into that, he even made mock-up practices to practice plays that the Buccaneers run to get himself set to speed when he gets back to the team. All in all, Jameis is a great player, and he is a franchise quarterback that anyone would want. Looking at his stats, he definitely has the potential to be a starter for any team in the NFL. But
I own that, and I have to fix it.
Sometimes his passion could be too great, and as you could see, he's thrown major picks, so many turnovers, especially last year, forcing dumb decisions when we're down by huge amounts of score, trying to get us back into the game. And don't even get me started on his off-field issues. And I consider these not something that we should determine how we move forward with Jameis Winston. All of these off-field issues happened his rookie year before, I believe, stealing soda from a Burger King in 2013, the crab leg incident in 2014 when he stole crab legs from a Publix, and then he had incidents with a few women. One of the latest ones, which caused him to be suspended this year for 3 years, was the March 2016. He allegedly groped an Uber driver, which I believe to be it's terrible. That's terrible. As of now, Jameis, I think, leads the franchise for touchdowns as obviously as a quarterback, and is knocking on the door of breaking the record for passing yards the entire franchise has had. And he's only been with the team for 4 years, considering we haven't had a quarterback to last on the Buccaneers for a very long time.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W. How many people want to eat a W tonight? How many eat a...
And let's get this square. Jameis Winston is no backup quarterback.
We got a brother. Bang, guys. We got a brother, everybody. Oh, we are brothers keepers. Oh, we are brothers keepers.
Yes, he'd be a very good backup quarterback, but he is no backup quarterback. If we were to not re-sign him, I guarantee you bumblefuck teams would pick his ass up and run with it. I guarantee you teams that are desperate for a quarterback, they would pick him up. They would not make him the starter nor the backup, but they would try and have him compete for a starting position 100%, and I guarantee you he would win that. What do I know? But what do you know? You know? It is what it is. So then some people are like, yeah, let's drop Jameis Winston and let's rebuild. Let's draft a new quarterback. Excuse me? Do you see the arsenal we have right now? Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Chris Godwin. We have a top 5 offense on paper, and actually right now we have a top 5 offense, but on paper we have a top 5 offense. Why would we take a risk on some quarterback, some rookie, and throw him back there, take another year to get in sync with the team, lose multiple players in that time? It might take 2 years to get in sync with the NFL. Why would we risk that when we have one of the best offenses at the moment? It doesn't make any sense. And then oh my God, it's terrible. And then people are saying, all right, let's go into free agency. That's a great decision. That's a dandy decision, Brandon. Let's go into free agency and pick up some quarterbacks. We need some quarterbacks. All right. Right now, the only players that are in free agency is like Teddy Bridgewater, who is currently on the Saints for 1 year, and he's a known name, but his stats are not that great, and he was injured terribly. He's not perfect. We have Tyrod Taylor, who's going on 30 next year, and Baker Mayfield came and kicked him out the starting position. Why would we? And he's going to want big money. Why would we invest in him? When, Jameis is going to ask for big money too, but at least he'll stick around for multiple years, more than 2 or 3 years. And I can mention some other names that are there, like Brock Osweiler, RG3, but all these players are washed up. We have no options in free agency. So it comes to the decision of, we have a great offense right now that definitely could produce results. Do we want to take a risk and draft a rookie, or do we want to sign some washed up old player from free agency? Either way, both smells like rebuilding, and I am not down with rebuilding for the 13th year in a row. So from countless Bucs fans, there's so many Bucs fans, I'd say it's 50-50. Half of us want to re-sign him. Half of the other want to just get rid of him and hate the person overall. And I would compare Jameis Winston to that girl that breaks your heart every time and time again, and you're hoping that she will change one day. And maybe she will, and maybe she won't. Maybe she'll just break your heart again and throw 4 picks in the Cincinnati Bengals game, which has a terrible defense. And it goes to, is he becoming more mature as a player? Not off-field issues. I believe he has become more mature off-field since college. But can we rely on him as a quarterback? And I believe that these past couple games that we've had against the 49ers, the Panthers, and the Saints have shown some signs of maturity, that he knows that when he got his chance back to start, he knows not to throw stupid picks. He knows not to run with the ball, sprint with the ball if there's people in front of him that are going to knock the ball out of his hands. He is making better decisions because he knows that his job is on the line. And, anyone could be like, hey, but Brandon, he threw like 4 picks against the Bengals, and he threw terrible other games away in the trash can earlier this season. Listen, I believe that was terrible, but I believe that's also part of, he saw what Ryan Fitzpatrick was doing, bombing the ball down the field, going crazy, showing Ryan Fitz magic, doing his thing. People were flexing the beards and such. It was great. But then we saw Fitzpatrick showing his true signs of what Fitzpatrick is. He's a backup quarterback. And although he filled the role well, you cannot just bomb the ball down every play without teams slowly catching on and containing you to, or forcing you to make short pass decisions, which Fitzpatrick could not do. And I believe Jameis had done better. So I believe that he is definitely showing signs of improvement these past few games. The rest of the season pending. Obviously, our playoff hopes are in the trash can, so he is not being as passionate as he would be. But these past few games, he has really showed what a quarterback should be doing, making smart decisions, smart passes, throwing the ball away when he knows nothing's there. And it comes to think, if we exercise our 5th-year option on him, which would be $20 million that year, would he play the whole season like this? And if he did, I believe we would be a dominant team. $8 million, which is not that much, but that's not counting, and that's not counting re-signings of Peyton Barber, like who we're expected to re-sign, and perhaps Ryan Fitzpatrick, unless he wants a big money deal and thinks he could start for another team, which he might be able to, but it'd be the same situation here where you're investing in an old ass quarterback who is going to be washed in a year or two. It could be a year or two. All in all, do I believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a playoff caliber team? Yes, I do. I do believe that we could be a playoff caliber team. I do believe we can hang out with the big dogs in our division, in our conference, in the NFL. I believe that we can compete being a number 2, the top 3 offense currently right now. Our defense needs major work. At least we fired Mike Smith, the past defensive coordinator, which was really holding us back in the beginning. And the defense has tightened up lately. For a 5th-year option, we can risk $20 million for just this year and determine that if this guy is the shit or if he is shit. I believe he is the shit. I don't believe he's an elite historic quarterback, and you're not going to find any of those. But I believe that he is a franchise quarterback. I believe that he could be a Matthew Stafford. I believe he could be a Ryan Tannehill. I believe he could be a top 15 quarterback that does the job, and especially with the arsenal we have now, makes him look elite. I believe that people are being harsh on Jameis Winston. Yes, he's made stupid decisions, but especially this year, this is when people started hating him because this is his final year. But is it Jameis's fault? We have a top offense, and our defense is no average Joe's. I mean, we have Levante David, we have Quan Alexander, we have Gerald McCoy, we have Jason Pierre-Paul. Vinny Curry is pretty good. We have Vita Vea, who's a big-ass motherfucker. And our probably weakest point is our pass defense, which is something we can hopefully work on in the draft. But I believe that re-signing Jameis Winston is not something that will, or is, I believe it is something that will help us. I believe
With the first pick
in
the 2015 NFL Draft,
if we had
the Tampa Bay
jack shit
Buccaneers
2010
select
arsenal,
Jameis
Mike
Winston.
Williams being a lead receiver, then I'd agree. All right, screw it. We're already rebuilding. But we are not rebuilding anymore. This is time. You saw the LA Rams going through free agency, grabbing as many players as they can because they said, this is our time. We have no shot. We have no other shot. We have to get Sue. We have to get Aqib Talib. We have no other choice. But then when you look at our team,
Today is your day. Today is your day. Today is the day that we show everybody what we built.
our offense is set. We have no other choice. We need Jameis on our team. But is it someone else that we need to get rid of? Is someone else holding us back, making stupid decisions, stupid coaching decisions, that's making us lose games? That's another video.
Based on that game today, we couldn't make enough changes. We should fire every person that was on that field today, starting with me. That was hard.